Hello, band parents. My name is Charles Fellini. A little bit about me. I've been teaching for about 18 years. I taught at Halifax Grammar, Sacred Heart, Halifax Independent, Park West, and for the last few years here at Rocky Lake. And now about the band program. This year, we're quite excited that assuming the public health restrictions continue to lift, we'd like to be able to do some concerts. Most likely one at the end of January, about halfway through the year, and one at the end of the spring, near the end of the year. We're considering the possibility of doing separate concerts for each grade level. So you come, you have a shorter concert, about half an hour, smaller crowd of parents and family members, and then the next grade level kind of is scheduled for a later time and comes, and so that's one thing we're considering doing just to make the concerts a bit more manageable this year. Music festivals are something that, if music festivals are going ahead this year, they generally happen in the spring. We're looking at having each grade level go to a music festival within the province, not out of the province. A couple other things. I sent around an email about a voluntary contribution of $20. This is totally up to you if you want to do this, but what it does allow us is for us to have things like extra reeds for clarinets and saxophones, extra valve oil for trumpets when they run out. It allows me to purchase some band books, the method books, the white book or the blue book, depending on the grade level, and then I can get the students to return it at the end of the year and use it again, so that we can get a better sort of deal on that, and without parents having to always go out and spend $10 or $12 on that. It covers like keeping the school-owned percussion equipment in good order, different little things like that. Buying some new sheet music when something new comes up, that we can keep our collection a little bit more current. Covers all that stuff. So and it can be done either through a check. I think if possible, try to do it through the little link that I sent you, because it's an electronic payment system, but they can take a check as well. Different than last year as well is the rehearsals for the whole grade level. So we're going to do grade 7 rehearsals before school on Friday, grade 8 rehearsals before school on Thursday, and grade 9 rehearsals before school on Tuesday. The idea, it's our chance to play together as a full band for that grade level, instead of a little mix, sort of unbalanced mix of instruments from each homeroom. We get to join together. It's a really valuable part of pulling the music together and kind of focusing on that performance element. So we hope that we get most people into that. There's obviously going to be weeks where your student has a conflict with other activities, or the ride, hard to get a ride, or that type of thing. So we won't always get 100%, but we hope to get most students there most weeks. There is no academic consequence if students are unable to come to those, but it just kind of makes sense when possible to make it to those rehearsals. Practicing, I'm not a fanatical about demanding lots and lots of practice, but if students can practice maybe 3 sessions, 20 minutes a session over the week, that can be really good for us making progress as a band. And students keeping on top of the material. It's not that much time once, if I know students often don't really like to practice, and you don't want to be like too much of the enforcer of the practice, because that can turn them off at too. But I always find if a student can assemble their instrument and leave it on a shelf in their bedroom or somewhere where they can just pick it up and start playing, that sometimes makes it a little easier to play through. And I've given them some guidelines for, like, here's how you could break up 20 minutes. Spend 5 minutes warming up, 5 minutes on the method book, and so on. So practicing, it's really great. If you can hear a little bit of that from time to time, we're going to be way better off. Instrument maintenance. Sometimes small issues with a key on a flute arise, and I can sometimes get it sorted out in class if it's just a matter of a spring that's come loose. Valves get stuck, and I can usually get them unstuck with some valve oil if it's not too stuck. Larger issues that I can't deal with, generally if you're renting from Long and McQuaid, they will take care of a lot of those little repairs and maintenance. Sometimes it does take a couple weeks, so because they'll have a lot on the go. So that's just something to be aware of. That if there's an issue, it's really good if it can be dealt with over a break. But if it's like stopping the instrument from being played at all, it kind of has to be done, as soon as possible. Students should develop a system for remembering their instruments on the days they need them. I have found in the past couple of years, it seems like lots of students tend to forget their instruments, which makes it a little hard to play if we're missing 4 or 5 instruments, and everything we do that class, those students haven't kind of made progress with us. So maybe writing it on the fridge, or certain like putting up a timetable somewhere where the student's bedroom can help. Students can leave instruments here during the week, especially if they have 2 band classes a couple days apart and they know they're not going to practice on those weeknights. They should not be left here on the weekend though, because then our storage system gets a little over full, and if the students have their instrument here on the weekend, they're probably never practicing. Percussion, don't need to bring instruments back and forth because we have a full section of snare drums, bass drums, timpanis, xylophone, bell set, everything they're going to need. I've got many pairs of sticks and mallets, so they're off the hook for that one. There's a really good app. It's called the Chromatic Bandmate Tuner app. This is for woodwinds and brass, and it will, when a student plays a note, they can set it to their instrument and it will show up what note they're playing. So it can be really helpful to tell what note they're playing and if they're on track with the music. It's only for phones and tablets. It's not for computers, but I'm going to be putting up a link to it on their Google Classroom. I'd highly recommend that they get that app. And there's also the method books tend to have links to online recordings that they can play along with. I often post a link to a recording of music that we're doing as a band as well. When you're emailing me, I'm fine with you just using my first name. That's great. There won't be that many band assignments, but when there's later missing assignments, I will tend to email the student, but then just copy you in, and you can decide how much you're going to intervene. In junior high, it's great to try to encourage that independence, but I also know that parents sometimes like to be able to kind of keep track of what's going on academically with assignments not being passed in. So I will generally try whenever I can to email students, copy in parents when there's late assignments, that type of thing. And finally, last thing, I just wanted to mention that along with Ms. Chater, I'm running a drama club this year. We're looking at doing a few sessions in the fall of drama games and exercises, and then moving into rehearsing for a play for later in the spring. So students who are interested in that should think about joining that. And that's it. Nice to meet you all, band parents. I hope to see you around this year.